Hello, Monica Haughey here. Thanks for coming along or signing up to this webinar I'm doing on manifesting. Firstly, just to say, manifesting is a very natural process. We all know the expression, be careful what you wish for, and the importance of how we think about something. And it's my belief that we mostly unconsciously manifest. And I want to invite you to start thinking about how you might consciously manifest. As I said, it's quite a natural process, whether it's getting a parking spot or when we anticipate an event or something in the future. We often sort of imagine what it's going to be, how it's going to go, but often we don't sort of consciously do this. And today in this webinar, I want to talk about it's really useful how we can actually bring more of this process into our conscious mind. And I think that alongside all the terrible things that are happening in the world, it's my firm belief that we're moving away from a victim mindset to one where we can be recognized as co-creators of our reality. By this, I mean that we can tap into our own power in creating and seeking to align with our creative abilities. The power of our mind is phenomenal. And I was listening to someone describe recently the martial arts exercise of trying to cut through a plank of wood. And what they teach is don't concentrate on the plank of wood, but concentrate what's on the other side of the plank of wood. And it's an example of how powerful our minds are. So it's my belief that at this juncture in our evolution, that we're all being invited to step up into our own power. A lot of the structures that we know have collapsed, and I think they're continuing to collapse. And I think really it's an opportunity for us to seek to be more empowered in our lives and to become co-creators. And just to mention that the neuroscience backs up the power of the mind. You may have heard of the Japanese scientist Emoto, who could actually show that through his mind, he could change the molecular structure of water crystals. People such as Joe Dispenza, this doctor and scientist, and Bruce Lipton are also demonstrating through science how the power of intentions and the importance of how we think and feel and how we program ourselves all impacts the outcome, can actually impact the molecular structure of something and really makes a difference. So in terms of our own businesses and creative project, it's a game changer really to allow ourselves to imagine what we want to bring to fruition and bring all our thoughts and our mind and our feelings and our heart energy in behind what it is we want to achieve. Now, alongside this opportunity to use our minds to make things happen, we can also use our minds to limit us. And so often we're not aware of how we use this manifesting in a negative way, that we unconsciously sabotage ourselves from making things happen and bringing our dreams to fruition. So being conscious of our programming, such as we're not bright enough, we're qualified enough, need to work harder, don't deserve it, etc., these negative beliefs are self-perpetuating. And the more we think them, the more we get the results to show that we're not that good. And it sort of becomes a vicious circle. And our mind is creating this reality, which isn't actually the reality we want. And this is often one of the main themes that I work with in the groups and in the one-to-ones. How are you holding yourself back? What is the limiting belief? And as a therapist, I can quite quickly get through to what is your limiting belief. So for manifesting to happen, we have to get into the frequency of what it is we want to see. When we can see it, when we can feel it, when we get excited about it. The osteopath that I go to recently was saying that he doesn't actually do any marketing or advertising. He gets into the deep resonance of what he's doing. He really feels into his conviction and his gift for his work and his passion for giving it to the world. And he's fully lined up with this part of himself. And he's a very busy practitioner. And he would argue that our vision isn't something we need to create, it's something that's in us. And we just need to tap into this and look at how we might bring it forward into the world. And then it's about not coming from a place of lack. Recently, I was reading Greg Braden talking about in South America or in places where there's droughts, they don't pray for rain, they pray rain. They line up with the rain. They don't come from a place of we don't have enough rain. So if we're seeking to earn more money, we need to actually feel into our abundance and feel into the frequency of abundance rather than come from a place of lack. So whether you believe in God or unity consciousness or whatever you believe in, this isn't about trying to make it hard. It's about inviting us to brace our abundance, embrace the energy and the vibration of what it is that we're drawing into our lives. And so, as I said already, alongside all the bad stuff, it's really important that we find ways to keep our frequencies high, to build our frequency, to stay empowered and attracting what we want. And so it may be that we have to switch off some of the news feed or watch who we hang out with, but to find ways that we can keep our vibrations high, keep our frequencies high so that we attract in what we want. And so believe it's possible. Imagine it's already there. Feel what it's like to have a clear intention and a positive emotion. Give gratitude and celebrate. And the timing, we have to trust and hand over. I've been looking for a house now for over a year. Haven't got a house. And I have to trust that the timing isn't right and to not get focused in on we don't have a house, but rather, isn't it great that we have a lovely place to rent? And isn't it great that the house is coming in time? And to then obviously take the steps I need to find a house, but to keep lining up with the fact that a house is coming. And then you can actually write down all the ways that what you want to manifest might come true. If you want to build a business, you mightn't immediately get the outcome that you had anticipated. So stay open to other ways that what you want may come to you, and to practice gratitude and positive affirmations. Some people put post-its around their houses. I am on my path. Everything is coming to me. Positive intentions, which really reinforce what they want to draw to their lives. Then often when we have our goals and we line up with our thoughts and our feelings, then we can break it down into steps. And in the questionnaire that you have, I'm sure even those on the recording, they've got access to the questionnaire, and you can look at, so you have your big vision, you can look at, well, what would I like, what's the bigger vision here, 10 years? And then what would I really like to achieve 5 years? And then break it down to 1 year. And then you can see that I've got the 4 quarters for next year. I did this last year, found it very useful to break down. So I'd like to start a podcast, or I'd like to participate in the other podcasts, and I'd like to do webinars, whatever, to make it tangible, whilst keeping in mind the bigger picture, the bigger vision. One exercise that I invite you to do now is to imagine if things were working out, if your dreams had come true, if it was Christmas morning for your business, what would it look like? What would you be doing? What would you see? What would you feel? So maybe after this webinar, this talk, you could take the questionnaire that I gave you and do a little meditation for yourselves about your vision. What would you love to manifest into your life? Imagine perhaps it's Christmas morning, and then break it down. So what would it be? 10 years, 5 years, 1 year, and then break it down into quarters for next year. So don't forget, be careful what you wish for. The power of our mind is so important, and we are all much more powerful than we realize. And it's about managing our thoughts and managing our feelings and what's in our hearts, and using these as tools to create positively rather than create negatively and sabotage yourself. So hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like to hear more, if you'd like to set up a free introductory call or join one of my monthly entrepreneur groups, I'd love to hear from you. I'm starting a new program at the end of January, and it's going to be a 6-month program where you meet your group once a month, you meet online in between once a month, and then you get to meet me individually and have as much support as you want in between to keep you on track. So it's a really great incubator, an opportunity to move yourselves forward and to start manifesting what you want into your life. Thanks for listening.